can sit there and clear our energy all we want. And then we go, but now what? I cleared my marriage because I was holding all this trauma, but I'm still annoyed and it's Friday and we've got date night tonight. What do I do then? Or I don't know how to parent my littles. They're so crazy and fun and I'm trying to break all the cycles while healing myself and it's a lot of work. What do I not know that I need to know? And boom, you need to have better boundaries, or your kids need better boundaries around TV, or, somebody in their friend group is speaking over them in a way that's hurting their heart. The things that as parents you want to know and as moms.
Welcome back to Deep Roots Wellness Podcast, the space where we explore emotional healing, spiritual awakening, and what it really means to live in alignment with your truth. I have so been looking forward to this conversation. Today's conversation is such a beautiful one. I'm sitting down with Paden Hughes, author of Take Two and creator of The Liberated Lightworker. Paden's story is so powerful. She went from being a 7-figure CEO leading high-performing teams to a complete spiritual awakening that redefined how she lives, how she works, and leads. Now she helps ambitious women heal burnout, regulate their nervous system, and build soul-aligned businesses that thrive without draining them. We dive deep into her personal journey from burnout to embodiment, the energetic tools that she uses like pendulum charts, and how she blends spiritual wisdom with business strategy in such a grounded, relatable way. So if you've ever felt torn between your ambition and your intuition, this episode is going to speak right to your soul. Let's get into it. Paden, thank you so much for joining me. I am so excited about this conversation. And I know that I shared with you earlier, but I have been looking forward to this conversation since you and I connected on TikTok.
I love it. TikTok has brought me so many friends. I just love that platform so deeply.
Yes, I completely agree. I would like to get started by I want to know more about you. I would love for you to share your story. What has gotten you where you are today?
All right. So what I would like to just say, because I find these small details so there's a common thread with what I'm about to drop here that so many relate to who are going through the journey that you and I are really in right now. I'm an oldest daughter of an evangelical pastor's family who moved around lots, popping from different churches to different churches, leading me from California, where I was born and raised, into South Carolina, family from Texas, just really had a really deep view of religion as it was taught to me. And the truth was, even as a child, I felt so connected to spirit. I felt so connected to the divine. I felt when I prayed, beautiful energy would just surround me like a warm light. I had experiences of the miraculous as a child, of praying weather away when it was going to rain in a wedding for somebody that I knew. And I just prayed with this full childlike belief that it would just be changed, and the weather dropped 20 degrees and cleared up. It was just, I had so many stories like that. So my experience of the divine was always really deep. But the way that I experienced that was always within this kind of Christian bubble. I was homeschooled in the Christian bubble. I was a debater in the homeschool Christian bubble. And then I went to college, was in Campus Crusade, was a youth group leader, went and led missions trips to different corners of the world. And I would feel the spirit of God come into my body and speak through me. And I didn't fully know what it was, but I knew it was true, and I knew it was good, and I knew it came from love. That was always I was very spiritual my whole life. And very prudish, though, because the way I experienced it was
exactly what you're talking about.
Right. I'm so deeply connected, and I'm so scared of the world. I'm so scared of this world, and I want to be different. So I'm going to do and live differently, and I'm going to save myself and protect myself and kind of shore up this wall of protection all around me. And as any oldest daughter knows, and also with the way the baby boomers kind of had an authoritarian parenting style, and certainly the way that I think women are treated in the context I was raised in, I was very much parentified, and it was celebrated, venerated, and totally normal. So it was not like my parents sought out to harm me. Like, this is literally what the whole culture did. I remember feeling so responsible and praised for the amount of responsibility and burden, really, that I could hold on my shoulders as a way of being valued in my community, as a way of receiving love and praise. And so, unintended or not, it really became how I received, Paden, you're good enough. And that was really the wound that I always was chasing to fill, was, can I be good enough no matter where I am? Yeah. And so if it was at home in my family, at one of 5 children, like, I wanted attention, and how I got attention was being the second mother, being the smart one, winning debate rounds, like getting straight A's, doing the good girl thing. And so fast forward into my career, and I dive straight into business consulting. Because I love marketing, I love psychology, I love people. I'm so intuitive, but I don't really have that language for it. I just know I read people really well. And I just always came easily. And part of that's some other things that were going on in my home growing up that made me hyper vigilant, to always be assessing who was about to blow, who was I walking on eggshells around. So part of that's a little trauma informed, with just needing to know where to step and stay out of conflict. We had that in common,
for sure.
Yeah. So that was a huge part of my success, because I was a good avoider of eggshells professionally. So I could go into places and go, oh, this is what's required of me to fit into this world. And as a young woman in my 20s, I was mentored by these generous men, which I really appreciated. Side note, though, my truest mentor was this beautiful gay man, and part of the reason I think I felt so safe with him is because he was one of the only bosses that never hit on me. And created this awkward tension.
There was no threat there. Absolutely.
There was no threat, so he felt super safe for me, and he just poured into me like I was his child, and I was so grateful for that experience, because I got to sit at tables in my mid-20s with 7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure CEOs my father's age, predominantly men, who asked my opinion, and this beautiful mentor of mine would actually let me speak, to the point where I was highly uncomfortable, because I had thought, well, I hadn't earned it, right? Like, how do I know what I'm going to speak into this space? But I would say things would come out of my mouth that I had no business knowing, no context for knowing, no research backing what I was even saying. And I would get chills in my body, and I would blurt it into the space, and everyone would go, what great advice. That's wonderful. That speaks to this. Or what a great analogy, because I saw pictures, in my brain. And I just thought that was normal. Sometimes we're too close to our, I won't even call it genius, but like our receptors of messages. We're always picking up on so much, and we think it's normal, and that's our way of being. So I knew what it was like to speak spirit in church, and I knew I didn't know it was spirit in these business settings, but I knew it was a voice of truth, and it was right, and it spoke through me. And so anyways, fast forward to, I get annoyed that I'm building everyone else's businesses for them. So then I decide to build my husband's business for him. This is all part of the master plot of Paden still has no dreams for herself. Paden still is...
what you're talking about.
Seriously. Like, what? I didn't even ask myself, didn't even occur to me to ask myself, what do I actually want as my gift to the world? How can I take what I've been given and actually put something beautiful into the world that helps people? Didn't even have that construct. I was thinking, how do I make as much money as I can in my 20s so that I can be a stay-at-home mom if I want? That was actually in my brain. How do I get some freedom for all my time? And so, he was doing fitness, which is, we giggle now, because honestly, brick and mortar fitness is one of the hardest industries to make actual money in. But here I came with this business consulting background and knew how to move people from $500,000 to 9 figures in 18 months. Like, I had some good chops, you know?
Yeah.
And here we are, like doing restorative longevity workouts for over 50-year-olds, which nobody cared about. Everyone
Yeah.
was like, why aren't you going after the pre-kids who look amazing,
Yes.
have no injuries, and want to work out every day hard? And it was like, well, because my husband is deep down a healer in his heart and a physical therapist type who just wants to help resolve
He
pain.
wants
So
to help.
people,
Yes.
yeah,
I
he
see
wants to help
that.
people. So I thought, okay, cool, let's combine forces and I'll help him do what he wants to do. So in 4 years, I grew it to a 7-figure business by the time I was 30, which was crazy because it put me in the top 2% of female CEOs, which is kind of depressing, to be honest.
That's amazing, though.
But
It might be depressing, but it was amazing. It
was
is amazing.
Yes. It was still a beautiful validation, which at the time I was very much chasing. Like that metric meant a lot to me.
Yes.
You know, and also the fact that it put our gym in the top 1.5% nationwide for revenue, which was crazy in a non-metropolitan area.
Yeah.
So I thought, cool, I've done it. Then I started having kids, and I've had 2 children, beautiful little humans. I think every baby we have activates something in us, like at a deep soul level.
I agree.
So with my daughter, the activation was, can I work less? And also the activation was, I wanted to go back to work, and I didn't know that that's how I was going to feel about it. But of course, that's where I got my validation. So it all makes sense recipe-wise. Why I was like, well, this, and also every time I hit maternity leave, our business flatlined. And as soon as I came back, it grew again. So I felt like I was almost like it was another baby of mine, like it needed me to grow, or I was going to be causing problems financially for us. So there felt pressure. And then being a mom and feeling like the only moms that I had been raised around made it sound like it was the most singular, powerful, beautiful, non-eventful, like life-giving experience of their life. And I just felt like every day I was failing.
Yeah.
I also at this point did not know I was a highly sensitive person who is like neurodivergent and cannot handle serious overwhelm. Like the overstimulation of a baby is so unspoken about, and I felt like I was just an absolute train wreck, and my nervous system was on the fritz every day, and the business needed my help every day, and my husband was like, when are you coming back, like and or trying to help support me, but also being kind of workaholic like me. Like we were just neck and neck together, pulling the same sled behind us. So there wasn't a lot of rest or value on self-care at all, ironically, because we're in the health and wellness space, but yet we don't even work out every day ourselves. So we were just in this whole wreck of it all. I have my son in summer of 2019, and something totally shifts in me, and I'm starting to look around and be like, I don't like this life.
Yeah.
And that's a really uncomfortable thing when we had decided to put all of our savings into building an online education business for my husband's fitness education. And I did that because I didn't think I had anything to give the world, which is just really funny when you look back on it. You're like, oh, you still were trying to get your dream, but you weren't even putting your face on anything. You were always the puppet master behind the wall.
Yes.
And so anyways, I have my son, my grandma dies, 2 weeks later COVID hits, and our business has no cash flow because we've just invested multiple 6 figures into these amazing marketers who could never have foreseen the collapse. But for a brick and mortar fitness industry, it was like being thrown into a Super Bowl for entrepreneurs, and everyone's just eating popcorn, watching you, wondering if you're going to survive or not.
Yes.
And you're just like, suddenly this is an entrepreneurial athletic event that we're dealing with.
Because everything came to a screeching halt.
Everything. And we have aging liberal clients. They thought they were dying. Like it was the most intense demographic to serve, because if we couldn't prove that all of our employees had been vaccinated, which I felt morally against, that's
right.
You know, not so then I have to go get publicly vaccinated to assuage their concerns, so they're not looking at my employees, which I don't feel good about. But, it was just a really damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario with kids, and then no family nearby. All of my friends, created their own little hubs of friends, and we weren't invited to them, and we were suddenly completely alone. Completely alone. And I thought that this was my time to shine. I literally started my podcast the week COVID went down, and I called it Paden's Pep Talks, because it was me pep talking myself through what I knew was going to be an insane event, and I was already incredibly stretched thin. Yes. But I thought this would be a very empowering moment. Fast forward to that November, and I face plant in the kitchen from chronic stress in front of my kids. It was incredible. I walk in, I don't know what's happening. I almost hit a tree driving the 5 minutes from the gym to the house. Say goodbye to the nanny so I could hold it all together, like a good girl will. And as soon as she leaves, I black out, and I wake up, who knows how long later, staring at a ceiling that I somehow eventually realize is my own ceiling. And I'm in my kitchen on the floor, and my kids are crawling on me going, "Mom, what's wrong with you?"
Oh, wow.
And I couldn't move my arms, and I couldn't move my legs, and I started to cry. And I'm trying to hold it together because I don't want my babies to be scared, but I'm scared. And my body at 34 years old isn't supposed to collapse on me. And everybody's counting on me, and I have to hit payroll that week from my savings account that is now dwindling. All of this is just on me. And I remember I had a coach at the time who said, "You need to go to Sedona on a soul adventure." And I was like, I don't even know what those words even mean. And I don't even know what is a soul adventure. But she's basically said it's like kind of like a little retreat for yourself. Yeah. Where you're going to sit with these healers, which to me in my brain meant therapists. It's not what it meant, as it comes to find out. And I think I'm meeting with all these therapists, so I'm like, this is great, because the high achiever in me is like, I'm going to do 10 years of therapy in 5 days. Perfect. Let's just dive right into all my problems that caused me to collapse on the floor. So I collapse. So anyway, so I go there, and I'm doing these deep dives with these very spiritual, non-religious, I'm not even spiritually curious at this point. At this point, I've just been in therapy deconditioning what I haven't loved about Christianity, and trying desperately not to throw the baby out with the bathwater and failing miserably, because I don't really know how to fully accept Jesus without the way Jesus was taught to me. And I'm just sitting there going, this is really murky and super uncomfortable. And I go there, and I'm being told by all of them, Paden, you are one of us. You're one of us. You're a healer. You have 100 and over 100 spirit guides and angels around you. Most people have 2. And I'm like, you must tell this to everyone. Like, I don't believe anything that's coming out of their mouth, because I think this is what you're paid to say. They're like, you're not wrong on one hand, because who really goes to soul adventures unless you're actually spirit guides are probably prodding you to go. Yeah. So they're like, so part of that's true, but part of it is you are in such denial of your softness and of your sensitivity, because you've armored up for entrepreneur battle for years. Yes. And you've forgotten and atrophied this really beautiful part of you that you had really only experienced and cultivated in your religious setting. But since you kind of came out of that religious setting, you have ignored that part of your soul for years. And
because you didn't even know that was a thing without religion.
Yeah, I had no idea. The only thing I knew is I said wise things spontaneously that people really liked. And that for me meant do more of that. Put yourself in consultative roles, because that's what people like. Be a leader and a manager and mentor people. I really loved all of that. So anyways, I end up, and I've written a book about this called Take Two, which because in the one of the whole week there was one session. There's always that one session that you come back to and you're like, there it is. But I was very aware as somebody who's sitting there being like, okay, I paid $7,000 for this week. So that means I have paid north of $500 per session. So I need to get $500 of value from every conversation. Like, of course, that's my brain, right? Going into this whole experience. So I sit down and she's like, I have you. She literally sits down and she just looks, I call her my German Buddha. She is a German lady and she just speaks compassion and just like just so grounded and so good. You're like, every word is gold. She sits down and she goes, I have you as this high performing achiever who is running herself ragged because what she fails to understand is just how deeply sensitive she is and how as a child she didn't feel that was what was valued. And so she pushed it down and now it's here and it's speaking and it's time to slow down.
Oh, wow.
And I was
That's
like,
exactly what yes.
Totally. And also so unflattering. I was almost like horrified that it was that she nailed it that fast. Because I thought I could read people, but this woman could read people.
Yes.
Like, it was a different level of mastery. And so she ended up then going on to further explain in the most humiliating example I've ever been given, which is, Paden, you're acting like you're a Lamborghini when really you're a Toyota Tacoma. And I'm like, I didn't even dislike Toyota Tacomas until you dropped that analogy onto my plate. And so now I'm like,
that's amazing.
I can't believe you just said that. Like, why can't I be a Lamborghini? And she's like, stop like trying to shapeshift yourself into these spaces to be like what you think you're supposed to be. Recognize your limits, because that's the only way you're going to allow your gifts to really shine. So anyways, I'm like very stirred up by this whole conversation, and I'm sort of like, okay, I'm in the forest. I can't see. I'm like so in the forest. I don't even see the landscape anymore. What am I supposed to do? And she kicks it back to me and goes, what do you think you need to do? And at this point, I'm just mad because that's not what $500 should buy you.
I need you to tell me what to do because I don't know.
Right. Like, I'm ready to take notes, sister, and do whatever it is your German self says I'm supposed to do.
What you're talking about, yes.
And I'm like, you're German. You're supposed to give me an order, a direct order, authoritarian style, and I'm going to do it. And she was just like,
just tell me what to do.
And she held her power and presence as a good coach does.
I love it. Yes.
And just said, what do you know? And I just blurted. There's that consciousness just blurting out. I need to take 2 hours every day to be alone. Which, by the way, was about the worst thing I could have imagined coming out of my mouth. Because the idea of taking 2 hours a day with a business that might fail and 2 children under 4.
I know. How in the world can you make that happen is like, I mean, what we think. Yeah.
I was
and then feel selfish for it and guilty.
So guilty. And I just was horrified that was my actual first thing. And she goes, perfect. At least 2 hours every day. And I'm like, so that was like my marching orders coming out. And so the book is called Take 2. And it's about my journey of 2 years of taking 2 hours every single day.
Oh, wow.
And the way that I justified, and I'll just give this little hot tip, because I think when you're so burned out, we think we're kind of hamsters in our survival wheel of, I can't slow down. Everybody needs me. And there's enough proof for no one to argue. Like, time is our most unquestioned resource. And there I was blurting to myself, evaluate how you're spending your time. Because then the thought drops in. And this is how I describe it, is like I heard a thought. This is how spirit speaks to me, is like it's in my brain first, often, as a thought that I know is not mine, but I know it's good. And I know it loves me. I guess that's the way I would describe it.
Yeah.
And so it would just drop in and say, what are you doing from 2 to 4 p.m. every day? And I sat there and I was so embarrassed to admit this, which I'll admit to you, which is I would maybe send 1 email in 2 hours. That's how fried I was. I was on my 4th cup of coffee by 2 p.m. I was like sitting there, butt in the chair. Office door closed. I'm there if anyone needs me. But no one needs me. Everyone's doing their job. And I'm sending maybe 1 email and I'm almost so fried. It feels like I blink and it's 4 o'clock and I'm already late for the nanny. Like, that was my existence. And spirit just so tenderly was like, you have that time. literally you could walk out the door at 2 p.m. and no one would know. And you could go on a hike in nature for 2 hours and nobody would know the difference, but your life would change. So I started to play with that and go, what if I just showed up late to work for 2 hours so I could give myself that good energy of self-care and being in nature and dancing. And that was a whole thing of like, what do you even do with your 2 hours? Like that was its own hellacious journey because I genuinely did not even know what I did for fun anymore. There was like no part of me that knew. I didn't know what was me. I had lost myself in every role and didn't even know who I was anymore. And so that's just what comes from chronic self-betrayal, which we euphemize as people-pleasing. But the truth is it's self-betrayal because it is. And when we do that, it's so tender and it's so painful because we realize we've literally walked ourselves so far away from our truth and authenticity, we don't even know the way back anymore. Yeah. And that's what I sat there being like, I thought I was so inspirational as this entrepreneur woman, and I don't even know anything. And
I know.
What is my life? Like, it just crumbled. It just crumbled. And my poor husband is like, so are you going to come back and run the business? Like, what's even happening? So, long story short, I spent years healing and softening. Yeah. And that was this really, and deconditioning a lot of the stuff I had put on like a mask to fit in or to perform. And when I didn't have to perform anymore, I really discovered a much gentler, more feminine, more support, like artistic and funny and creative and playful version of me. And I loved her so much. I started to realize I couldn't be the CEO of the company anymore. And so I stepped back. Here's what's wild. I stepped back, and every manager that I had groomed over I think 6 years at the time was running the business for my husband and I. And then he was able to contribute. You know, now I think he's running the business and expanding the business 6 to 10 hours a week. Yeah. Because, you know, and so that's when one blessing was I was able to step back from the business that I built without having to burn it down, which is one big thing I see with a lot of executive women right now who built either big careers or big businesses, feeling like I'm going to have to burn it all down for myself to reinvent. Yes. And that's a super dysregulating thought. And I'm grateful for the idea of actually, do I, or could I just work smarter or put the right humans in place so that it continues to pay the bills, but I don't physically have to be there?
That's huge.
And it was huge. And it gave me, you know, the last 5 years. And I went so deep in ancestral work, and I went so deep in energy healing, and I went so deep in the mystical and understanding my intuition without having to have a language or a way of compartmentalizing it, and just really opening up my sensitive self, because that's really what it was I'd always been that sensitive kid that could feel spirit, that could blurt out wise things, but I didn't know it was a muscle you could build. Yeah. And so anyways, that's where I could pause it right now, because I'm coming out right now of my cocoon of healing. Spirit's like, Paden, it's time to go and teach specifically women how to flow in their careers and in their businesses without making, like, we've just all taken on this patriarchal burnout hustle mode that weirdly energizes the men for the most part. If I had to generalize, they're actually excited to hustle, but most women I know genuinely are not. Genuinely would be thrilled to sit back and let it all just flow to them. And so I sit there and I go, okay, women are going to rewrite this. And AI is right there to prop up the things that we don't love to do and do it for us. And intuition's right there to guide us forward. I've never met a woman who needs me to break down what intuition is. She knows. It's the men that I sit there explaining what intuition is. I'm like, this is wild, because I know you all can be just as intuitive, but for some reason you never have to convince a woman that it's a real thing.
It's so interesting to me, especially with men, and they talk about like a woman's intuition, which we all, like you said, we all have that ability, right? It's like a muscle that we grow. And it's so funny to me that some don't even think that it's real or it's a thing.
Right.
And that's how we're designed.
Yeah. And I truly believe that anyone who's had the experience of carrying a child and being a mom, a new mom, there's good and bad with that whole journey. But the good is you really witness yourself know things without any words being spoken.
Completely.
And it's so deep and it's so instinctual and it's so natural. But when we realize actually that's always been there, and yes, I know our brain shifts around pregnancy and birth and the gray matter shifts, etc. So we have more of that intensifying it. But I've just seen women have incredible access to intuition. And I'll say sensitive men too, because I'll throw them in the mix. There are some deeply sensitive men that really have their receptors open and are fully receiving information and allowing it to direct them in their journeys. And it's really just as powerful. So it just started to feel like more and more this sensitivity that I had so rejected in myself because I didn't see it helping me win my goals. I mean, really, if I were to just break it down, it's like being sensitive was seen as a negative.
Yes. And a weakness.
In the corporate world. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It just, no one's out there going, way to say your feelings. Like, I'm so glad you blurted out and cried in the board meeting. Like, no one's out there, like, excited for that. No. You know? Or save it for the marketing brainstorm, right? Like, let's just take that part of you and shove it over here where it's allowed, but it's not allowed in any finance or operations meetings. So I sat there just going, when I reopened my sensitivity, and nature and dancing was a huge part of that for me.
Oh, yeah.
Just being in nature, I truly feel like nature was like a mother to me and held me and put me back together in such a gentle and fun way. It didn't feel hard and it didn't feel like work. It just felt like every day going outside.
That is so beautiful. And dancing is huge too, like moving the energy and like all this stuff. It's such a beautiful way to connect.
And especially growing up the conservative way that I did, I think dancing always has a really heaviness to it because it felt like if you move your hips, which is of course all I want to do, is just like be Shakira and these hips don't lie and I'm just doing some cool stuff in my kitchen, you know? And I would sit there and do it in nature and just feel so liberated and go... Or like a drum beat hits and you're just like some ancestral part of me is just moving to this music. I can't even explain it. And then I go back into my, tightened up little family bubble and it feels weird to be me in that setting. But yeah, so it's just, and then there has just been a lot of healing for me around women. And around judgment and around betrayal and around not being understood has been so hard in this journey for me. But also the hardness of it is really like what my soul came here to be wise with. I was like, can you grow and have people not understand? And that's so painful and hard. And I'm like, yes, I actually can. And I literally, every time my nervous system thought I would die, that's how dysregulating it was. And I'm not even lightweighting this. It's like somebody comments on a picture I put somewhere on social media. It's like a friend from childhood, right? You have never seen in 15 years. Like, what have you become? ? And I'm like wrecked for the day. So tender, or like a brother or a sister voice messages me, you're clearly going to hell and I'm going to be the one to save you. And I'm just like so offended because I'm not trying to tell them anything about their experience. And to each their own, but it is very triggering to watch someone go, I'm going to really just be in a different vibration than you have known of me. And I'm going to be really proud of myself for being a different person every year. Like if I do this right, in a year from now, I should shock you. In 2 years from now, I might be a totally different person.
I completely agree. Completely. And it is triggering for people when we change and have different beliefs or just change our vibration. It can be any of it or all of it. And it's very interesting to me. how that is. I just and I may be wrong, but I don't think that it ever bothered me that badly when someone changed or when they grew.
Mm.
And I mean, and not saying like, I get it, I do, but I think it's a testament to how we've been conditioned and programmed to focus on the wrong things. And if someone is not like me and if they're different, then that's dangerous and that makes me uncomfortable. You know, I need them to conform back to who I know that they're supposed, like who they were and who they need to be to keep me comfortable.
Right.
I just never realized it was as deep as it is until now that, of course, I've grown out of my old belief systems and all this stuff. And I'm completely into spiritual and energy healing and something that it's really not introduced to us where it wasn't to me, like growing up and all like in our communities and stuff. So I just think it's interesting and it's a bit heartbreaking.
It's really painful, and
Yeah.
and I think this is part of just how we're raised. And I had three sisters, and I had a lot of girlfriends. Like I loved my girlfriends, and I don't have any of the same girlfriends
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
and that was hard.
I can relate.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it can understand it and just go, we grew apart, because that's the truth. We grew apart,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the things that we were connecting about, we don't see eye to eye on the core, maybe some of the values underneath it, or we don't understand kind of how we've come back together, and it's been painful
Yes.
for me.
It has I can relate with that part as well. There are some aspects and some relationships that have been painful for me too. But I understand it, you know? And now understanding why and how energy works and how our emotions work, and I allow myself space to be able to feel that and work through it. And that again is something that I never learned before.
Yeah.
Didn't realize how much I was holding on to, like the trauma and all this stuff. And so you mentioned energy healing earlier. What modality do you prefer, or
So when I first got into energy work, I went the kind of traditional path where you transmit energy, which as a child, I knew what that was. Like I knew when I put myself into I didn't call it a bubble of protection back then, but I knew when I felt this flow of what I would have called the Holy Spirit come through my whole body,
Yeah.
and I could send energy out. I didn't know what that did or meant. I just knew I was a conduit if I
Yes.
chose to be and if I intended to be. And so I ended up doing what's called a high 70 energy from a friend of mine who is this really gifted intuitive. And I'd done her intuition classes, and she was confirming all these things I thought were normal and are normal, actually. I really think they're normal.
Yes.
But they felt so mystical, and I've always loved things that felt magical. And I've always held space for the divine experiencing itself through me and showing me how good it can be every day. And so I really do have almost like a playful childlike energy. I think this is the neurodivergent part. Like I've preserved this playfulness in my soul so deeply.
Yeah.
And so I just held full space for it, and that allowed me to send energy. And so I could feel this flow of energy over my body, over these energy centers. And I started to practice on a friend who was also working on her gifts, and we were both sending energy to each other once a week. And we would be getting messages through. Like part of what sending the energy was receiving what we would call downloads, or these thought forms that would move through, and the courage to speak it, and the safety and the permission in that connection to refine it. And our gifts exploded that year. And this is why I think women need each other. no matter what label you put on your gifts, we need safe places with sisters who understand and can hold the magic with you to go,
Yes.
hey, that was right. That felt a little off to me, but maybe you're right. Let's just sit with it and see. You know,
Yeah.
a week later, get a text. Oh my gosh, that thing you said just happened, you know, or
Yes.
whatever it is. And we're like, this is great, because what it's proving to us is we have this intuition that is like a batting average. And it's like any kind of muscle. It's like you don't just start it. You know, you need proof. You need time to prove to yourself. So when the bigger moments come, when you're putting money in the stock market and where you're putting it, or like, are you going to buy that house, or are you closing a business? Like when the big decisions come, you literally know I'm batting 92% right now. It's not perfect, but you know what? It's strong, and it's stronger to me than any data you could show me. And so, yeah, so that's what I started doing with energy. Then I went back to Sedona on a second soul adventure. This time I was ready. I was like, okay, hit me with whatever's got to happen, you know? Like, I'm now surrendered to the path. I'm open to the way that the divine wants to move through me. I've shed the judgments that I held prior that were taught to me as a child, because I think it just constrains who the divine energy of God is in my life. And I don't want to be constricted by it. I can be discerning. I can understand if it's healthy or not. But I really want to be open to what is wanting to move through me. And I met with this woman who was going to do a karmic clearing on me. And I was like, well, things aren't going so well with my family. They're not accepting anything that I'm doing over here. Secretly talking about my back. You know, I'm this evil, wicked human. You know, but super nice to my face, as one will be, you know, coming from the background.
I cannot relate with you at all. I have no idea what you're talking about. That stuff does not happen.
That does not happen. We say it how it is around here, in love, you know, and you're just like, I'm just putting on my armor, ready for the next truth in love moment for myself.
Yes.
And so I go into her house, and she looks like, and I forget her, it's Anne is her name, but she's the editor of Vogue, and she's a cute little bob. She looks just like this editor of Vogue, and she sits down and she pulls out her little pendulum and a book of charts. And that's about the witchiest thing I'd ever sat through. And at first I was like, oh, okay. Staying open, staying curious. And she starts pulling out the pendulum and describing to me that the pendulum simply is just a weighted object that allows the energy.
I just ordered my first one, by the way, but go ahead.
Very exciting.
Yes.
And some of us are drawn to it and some of us don't, like aren't, even with or without the bias. Like some people are just into it and others are just like, it doesn't really speak to me. And to each their own. But it spoke to me, and I was like, oh, I knew, because I'd seen landscapers use dowsing rods to find where water lines are in the backyard. That felt magical and cool to me, you know. So then I see, right? So then
the same thing, and I ordered them as soon as I saw it.
Like, oh, of course, we've been doing this for years. So she's got these charts, and I'm sort of like, this is really interesting, because like I love a good system. I've got a lot of left brain energy, and she's holding this mystical weighted object, and she's going, I'm connecting to energy, and I'm asking the divine to show and reveal through where the pendulum directs what wants to be known. And I'm like, okay, I'm just here for the ride. As she goes, my spirit, my body starts tingling. I am feeling every bit of energy healing that I have ever felt. It's like 10 times more strong for me with this modality than on a Reiki healer working on me, which always felt very gentle and warm. This is like, I'm like getting fire in my throat, and I'm feeling all sorts of things. Visuals are coming through, and I'm just like, well, this is a wild roller coaster of an experience right now. So she's telling me, sweet old lady, she's telling me things about all these past lives and all these ancestral trauma things. And God, half the stuff coming out of her mouth, I'm like, is that true? But my body's tingling and it remembers. And I'm like, I don't even know how to describe this human experience. My brain is sitting on like a front row seat with popcorn, watching something unfold. And my body's participating. Like it's fully on board. And so she's telling me all this stuff, and then this deep knowing drops in and says, you know this. You've been incredibly powerful with pendulums, and you're coming back to something that has been very powerful for you. So then I go, how do I learn how to do this? And
Yeah.
there's this wait list for a year. It takes me a year to go through level 1, level 2. And I think I've got it. I'm doing all these healings. People are like healing all sorts of stuff. Endometriosis gone, PCOS gone, like all this crazy stuff moving out of
Yeah.
their lives. Relationships getting healed, money coming out of nowhere, business direction. And like, I'm going, this is just straight oracle stuff. Like when we
Yeah.
hear about ancient cultures and how they would go to the wise women or the wise people in their community, and they would blend with all these tools to give them direction on when to go to war, how to go to war, what are
Yeah.
the next ways to save the people, and I just felt in my soul, I was always one of those people that they sought counsel from, and I had my tools that I loved. So that's interesting, and so then anyways, I wake up last year. Lionsgate portal, which I never knew anything about, was like not even a thing. 88 repeating numbers, saw them all the time, had no idea why that was special to anyone. And
I
then I start to
know.
realize, oh, there's these really interesting solar energies. And then I start to realize that when I feel fatigued, exhausted, sick, all
You are
matches.
explaining my life to a T right now, and the stuff that like I'm learning about, and
It's
oh my
wild.
gosh, yes, it's
I'm
wild.
literally like, I just thought I was crazy. Now
Yeah.
apparently there's solar flares that are confirming for me that I'm not the only one out there wanting to sleep for 12 hours today. Wondering
No.
why I can't pull myself together for a basic day.
Yes.
And so anyways, I'm in the portal. Spirit has told me, 3 months before, this is May of 2024, like, Paden, you're going to take the whole summer off and you're not doing anything. You're not coaching. You're not even really sharing what's going on social media. Like, you're just, because at this point I was just coaching women around burnout and, my journey and coming back home to themselves and intuition. Spirit's like, pause, something's coming, be ready for it.
Yeah.
Which was great in June
Yeah.
and was really annoying by July. And by August, I'm like, where is this thing? Because I got 3 weeks of summer left and I don't even know what's happening. So I wake up in the middle of the night to energy beings that I know. Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, and Isis, who I have always been taught was just like this hellacious person from Egypt
Yeah.
that you should have nothing to do with. And yet my experience was a very loving, very powerful energy. And they all came to me and said, we want you to channel a body of work. And I'm going, come again? Like, I channeled parts of my book for sure. Like, anyone who's creative
Yeah.
knows what flow state is. That's basically what we're talking about with more intention, and discernment. And so I end up going, okay. And they're like, we need you to take 3 days. And we're going to come back and we're going to teach you what you're going to build. I have no idea what it is. I tell my husband, it's like, this is like Wednesday. I'm like, I need Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 12 hours a day, going into like a vortex of creation. I don't even know how to describe to you why I know that I need to do this. And he's kind of annoyed because he's traveling and speaking a lot at this stage. And he's gone a lot. And he was like, I thought we were just going to have like a family weekend. And I was like, I don't know how to describe something cosmically cool is happening. I just have to show up. And this is the thing I've been waiting all summer for. So I can't even describe the 3 days and what happened in those 3 days. All I know is I walked out of, our business was closed down over the weekend. So I was there the whole weekend. I walk out and I have outlined 146 charts of data, not the chart form, but just what information and what energy, like, prayers you're basically speaking over certain clearings or what activations, and then actual real life guidance that Spirit wants to give us. Because we can sit there and clear our energy all we want, and then we go, but now what? I cleared my marriage because I was holding all this trauma, but I'm still annoyed and it's Friday and we've got date night tonight. What do I do then? Or I don't know how to parent my littles. They're so crazy and fun and I'm trying to break all the cycles while healing myself and it's a lot of work. What do I not know that I need to know? And boom, you need to have better boundaries, or your kids need better boundaries around TV, or, somebody in their friend group is speaking over them in a way that's hurting their heart. The things that as parents you want to know and as moms. And anyway, so I come out and I'm just like, okay, I have this body of work and I've been given this responsibility. And so then I spend the next 2 months, I'm not a graphic designer, but I was literally like, do not hire a graphic designer because I'm going to be given iterations and edits and like word changes to things. And I'm going to have real questions as a human trying to understand this system. And I'm going to need to use it as a way to refine it. So I ended up at the end of, 45 days, 60 days, I ended up having an entire book of charts like the older woman in Sedona had herself.
Yeah.
But and then I had asked Spirit, why do we need more? We already have a book of charts. Like people are using these charts, and they said because the charts that are out there interpret angelic language codes that humans don't understand. And so it doesn't make any sense if I say I'm going to clear your 2,900 pathways.
Right.
We're all going to go, what is that? And including me. And I don't want to be an intuitive who can't explain what's happening or have to channel everything. So I end up realizing that this is really just a beautiful resource tool for translating spirit.
Yeah.
And inviting and using our free will to invite clearing and understand why. The amount of compassion that I now hold for myself is so off the charts, because when I feel the worst about my behavior or so confused by why I feel so, I have a frog in my throat or my heart's palpitating and I don't understand why. And I'm like, I've done all the work. Why? I can pull out my chart book, set the container, set the protection, and ask God to come and reveal to me, what is it that I'm not seeing? And have it go, your chakras are out of balance. Or have it go, Paden, there's ancestral wounds for you around feeling lonely in love, or feeling lonely, or when you're misunderstood and feeling it's dangerous for you to feel misunderstood. That's something you inherited through your epigenetics 8 generations back when it was a life or death thing. And even though it's not now, it feels like it. Yeah. So do you want to clear it? And I can clear it, and I can literally feel my symptoms shifting. And I can walk out after 5 minutes, a genuinely, authentically shifted person, and I don't have to pretend anymore or hold it together. It's so powerful, and I'm so grateful.
I'm going to order that, and I can't wait to get it.
It's so
That's
powerful.
Exciting.
Yeah, I just got a printer that I'm working with to send it directly, and now I'm going to integrate it into TikTok Shop, which I'm really excited because Spirit was like, go live on TikTok and start showing people the book. And I'm like, this is for sure outside of the comfort zone. Like, there I am with a pendulum on TikTok, right? And everyone's like, you're either a devil or tell me if I'm going to marry this person. And you're just like, this is just not what I'm doing here. This is just about soul exploration. Let's keep it light. Let's not go into trauma for people on live, all these things. But it's been really joyful, and it's been a good edge for me. And also the feedback is so powerful.
That's incredible.
And it reminds me of how oracles or wise people that we've always heard about and are in the Bible and all the things I heard about, they had tools as well. Not all of them. Some of them were prophets, and they didn't have a tool. They just got themselves into a beautiful state and were mouthpieces. But others used the stars, like the Magi, right? Like, hello, have we forgotten the Magi would have been absolutely considered witches. Like, when we think about what they're following the stars, they were bringing all of these gifts of incense. And all these things have real spiritual significance. And it's just interesting to go. It's so fascinating that there is this desire in so many of us to get back to what our ancestors held before it became taboo, before women were vilified for their intuition because it conflicted with the power the church wanted to have. And whether that was conscious, unconscious, or just we've all just fallen into it, doesn't even matter anymore. It's just, it feels like there's, what I continue to come back to is instead of going into labels of like, you're this or you're that, or you're saying that and you're doing this, go into what are you naming? What is it that you're feeling? Because everyone knows what their body's feeling when something hits. No one has to tell you when a movie makes you cry. Like, why did you cry? I don't know, but I know I got a really powerful message when they spoke this line, or just the music just brought me to tears, and it's perfect what I needed today. And that's the magic I want people to really come back to. And I just have seen it be used to completely transform people's wealth, completely transform their relationships, completely transform their health, and totally guide them. Now every morning I sit down with my coffee, Kids are at school. I sit now because it's cold. I'm sitting in front of the fireplace and I bring out my book and I've got 5 minutes. I'm like, Spirit, what do you want me to know? Like, what is important for me today? And some days it says go on a hike. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to pay to spend 30 minutes. I'm going to go on a hike. Or sometimes it says write down your dream life as if it's already happened. And I'm like, perfect. I can do that for, 5 minutes. Other times it's like, your energy's off, like, let's just be real.
Yeah.
You've got some serious energetic leaks. You're over giving and you're resentful about it. Like, how relatable is that? Can we just do a clearing of your energy body? And I feel like the swirl go all around me and I just drop into my body and I'm like, that's what I want to walk into my day with. And that's other days huge. It's like, Paden, here's this beautiful activation from your ancestors in spirit that just want to send you all this beautiful love and support for you being a speaker, a spiritual speaker. And I'm like, wow, I have ancestors that were spiritual speakers. Like, this is cool. Didn't consider that. And, as much as we believe we can inherit their baggage as cycle breakers, it's not too hard to believe we also can inherit their gifts in spirit.
We don't focus on that a whole lot, do we? We only focus on...
No, we don't. We focus a lot on what's bad about us, not what's good about us. And often they're the flip side of the same coin. So it's very confusing for us to beat ourselves up for the opposite side of the very gift that would be celebrated if we didn't throw it all out. So...
I love that. What a great point, Paden. That's huge.
It's huge. It actually came up with my husband and I this week because we were arguing and I didn't even, of course, remember what it was about. But it was something around, I am the freedom lover. I'm the kite. He's the anchor. Yeah. And I can sit there and be like, you constrict me, or you said no when I wanted it to be a yes, or whatever it is. Or like, you have a way of doing things that feels like it's not very fun for me, or whatever it is. And he loves that I'm the fun one and the crazy one. Like, that was for sure the attraction. And my attraction is by him being him, I get to be me. Yes. And so we were in this argument where we weren't seeing eye to eye because we were each seeing from our own perspective. And we had to just pause and go, I can't beat you up right now for what you just said because it's why I love you. And if you want me to agree with you, I'm betraying who I am as well. Yeah. And you actually love that part of me. So we just have to yin and yang it right now and just understand that this is the polarity that's existing between us. And that's part of the magic.
So when you started going through all these like beautiful, beautiful changes and the growth, what was your husband's reaction? Initially.
Right. At first, I was really scared to tell him after Sedona, being like,
kind of in the closet. For a little while. I know I was for a while.
Yeah. I think for me, I was able, because for a while, he thought I was over exaggerating the face plant because he hadn't witnessed it. Yeah. So he's very much a proof first to follow the belief follows the evidence. Yes. And so he was like, oh, she probably just had like a rough moment. I'm like, no, like I blacked out. I don't remember. It could have been an hour. And the kids were too small to even to this day tell me. So he was like, okay, you're going to Sedona. And because I paid for it by booking a speaking gig, he didn't care. Like all these things just fell into place perfectly. And so I ended up coming back being really nervous to tell him. So I ended up doing what I always did with my mom, which is really interesting. Like as a kid, how do I get her to say yes to a sleepover with someone she doesn't know? You plan it out. Like you architect the bulletproof plan and then you present it perfect ironclad. I did that with him. And I was like, I'm going to do a 21-day experiment. It was between Thanksgiving and Christmas. This was the slowest time in our business. I'm going to try to heal because I'm not well. And he could see that. I mean, we'd normalized it for years, but honestly, I was a train wreck in the family. Yeah. And who better to know my nervous system dysregulation than my sweet husband? Yeah. So he's like, I support you. And as long as no balls drop at the business, you can do, like, you have my blessing as your business partner to step away like this 10 hours a week, which felt like a lot. And within 8 days, I wanted sex all the time. Like I was, my energy was so much better. So he was like, whatever you're doing is great.
Keep doing it.
So that kept me going. And then there was this point where no one said anything, but I knew I was never going to stop, and he knew I
Yeah.
was never going to stop.
Yeah.
And he never said, no, you can't,
Mm-hmm.
because that would have been a major problem for me.
Yeah.
He just knew that's not a fight he was going to win, or wanted maybe to win. But there's been seasons with it. Like sometimes he's resentful, like you kind of
Mm-hmm.
bailed, and it's not like
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand that perspective, because I did. Was so out of alignment. I couldn't be who I had been. Well, who
Yeah.
does that affect the most? My husband and business partner.
Mm-hmm.
But then he would also say, but you're a better mom, you're a happier person, you're a better wife, you're a better
Yeah.
friend. Everything's getting better for you. So the fruit of what you're doing is so obvious, but it
Mm-hmm.
forced him into more burden, or more
Yeah.
responsibility, is
Mm-hmm.
how he felt about it. So we've gone in and out of the honesty of that. And, even the questioning, and this is a big conversation a lot of my spiritual girlfriends and I will have, which
Mm-hmm.
is, what do we do, especially when we come from these religious backgrounds where we're taught if you're unequally yoked, or if you're
Yeah.
not at the exact same place spiritually, you're headed for a cliff and you're going to divorce. Like, that's literally the picture that's often painted. I was really trying to drag him into spirituality to be with me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is how I was
I
showing
was
my
too for a while.
right
And then I
vigilant
realized,
love. I've had
yes.
the blinders fall off. I've seen the light. I have all these
Yeah.
spiritual gifts that are popping off, and let's go. And he's like, I don't think I hold the same experience of church that you do. I don't
Yeah.
think my experience with God is as tragic as it seems that it was for you, or whatever
Yeah.
is true for him. And I had to sit there and really look at my spiritual superiority complex,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
get radical with, it was just as heinous for me to act like I knew
Yes.
better than as
Mm-hmm.
I felt it was heinous for Christians coming after me because I went down a non-traditional path.
Right.
And I was like, you're literally doing the same thing. So if you want to do it differently, you have to allow him to be sovereign in his
Exactly.
life, and trust that he'll be guided exactly where he's supposed to be. And what was beautiful about my husband that I'm grateful for is he gave me space to evolve. So how could I rob him of the same space for him to evolve?
Yeah. That's huge. Yes.
It's been huge.
And it's not necessarily what we were taught. Just because we don't
Yeah.
have the same spiritual beliefs or we're not in the same spot, that doesn't mean that you are just destined for divorce.
Right. It doesn't at
Because
all.
no.
There
Because you
are
learn how to hold space for one another.
Absolutely. And I think that one of the gifts of TikTok for me personally, because Instagram still feels curated and a lot of my old energy has been in Instagram. TikTok gave me fresh energy. Of course, it popped off because I
Yeah.
had fresh energy with it, right? So then I'm like, oh, this is hilarious. So the version of me that's more honest is over here resonating. And what it taught me is how many women are going first right now in their
Yeah.
marriages and in their communities. And a lot of them are, really have always been leaders, and they're feeling that, is it okay for me to be the spiritual leader in my home, or
Yeah.
am I leading from a place of just allowing and surrender, and can I accept that as leading? Am I how am I doing with my kids? And I've personally just found, like, the joy I have in my kids is recognizing the joy that I've really had is looking at them going, they're so perfect as they are.
Mm-hmm.
And they're held
Yes.
as they are. And they have their own spirit team around them,
Yeah,
guiding and
they
protecting
do.
them.
They
And they've
do.
chosen me as their mom. And maybe they chose me to not have it all figured out, to not have a organized bubble for them to participate in.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of what's the gift, is they get to go find out what's true for them and have parents that maybe aren't on equal sides of it, but they can see now a model where no one's perfect, no one's perfectly aligned, and they're still choosing to be together.
Yes.
And I think
Yes.
that's actually great medicine for our world right now.
I completely agree. And I just talking about the kids, I have a almost 25-year-old and 18-year-old and a 16-year-old. And I was just talking with someone a couple of days ago, but I absolutely love the relationship that I have with my children now being on this side of things. And I know that there are no sides, but you know what I mean? Like compared to when we were really, really heavy in religion, I was very judgmental. I had unrealistic expectations for the children. You will be perfect. Do not embarrass me. Grades have to be great. You have to act just, you have to be on point. But the relationship that I have with the children is incredible. And I look at them and realize that they are just what you just said. They are their own humans. They have their own spirit teams. They came to this earth. They chose us as their moms and our parents and our husbands as the dads. But they came to this earth to fulfill their own purpose. We're here to help them get there. We are here to help them, like, guide and then be there to support them. And I absolutely love this side of it because it's just, there are no real words to describe how incredible I think like my relationships are with the children. And now that I completely see them in a different light, it's not humans that I own and that I am supposed to dictate everything they do. No, that is not why we have children, and I love it.
Yeah, it really strips down all this pressure we put on ourselves.
That too, yes.
And all the extension of them representing the family, and and a lot of us are healing how that impacted us.
Yeah.
As part of a generational pass down of expectations. And, our parents were hurt by it too. I see that.
Yeah.
I see their parents being hurt. I totally see how this has been a train wreck for everyone involved.
It is.
And I want to be in the gap and hold the gap. And Spirits literally said, like, you are providing space for your kids. And there's a lot of very brave and strong old souls that I think chose to incarnate now when we all did, because we're giving birth to and bringing forward a generation that is literally at a different frequency.
Yes.
They are so different.
Yes.
And millennials have been different. Like, I get it. Like, there's been a whole vibrational shift around that. The indigo children, like, whatever you want to say. Like, every generation has a glimmer of a new vibration. And I think what I'm so proud of is all of the people who are healing, who are psycho breaking, and who are completely holding space for the new generation to be able to be who they came here to be. And I'm so proud of that because it is the hardest thing I've ever seen. Like, there's no way to judge one another when we're holding all of this right now.
No, I know. Yes. Yes.
So I sit there and I go, you know what? The truth is, like, whatever is going to wake you up or call to you or speak to you, as long as the fruit of it really is love and kindness and compassion and the people around you are thriving, who am I to say that it's wrong?
Go for it. That's right. Yeah.
If there's the evidence will be there. The evidence will be there. And I really think that a lot of very wise texts support that too. So yeah, it's been a beautiful journey and a humbling journey. And at this moment in time, I feel like I just, every time I meet a human, whether they're spiritual or not, whether they're like me or not, I think to myself, what wise and sacred soul is in front of me right now that I can support and love and learn from, and there is no hierarchy. That's the thing I really love that I think women are bringing forward, regardless of whatever their path is. I think women understand we're not here for hierarchy. That is some old stuff. We've always been communal. I want to speak your name in groups where opportunities are being spoken. I don't want to do it alone. I don't know a single woman that is ambitious that wants to do it alone. That's also fascinating to me.
I completely agree. Yes. You're right.
It's like we are not here for that.
No.
Yes, we're all mutually healing this competitiveness we were taught, but I don't think it's natural to us. And we're kind of unwinding from she looks better than I do or she seems better than I am, and we're just like, she's the proof. That's who she is to you. She's the proof that what you want is real. as long as she's being authentic and not faking it, right? Because we
Right.
also know
Yeah.
that sometimes there's the pressure to keep up appearances. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it's a beautiful time to be where we are in the corner of the universe that we're in my opinion, even though the world feels wild. I just think more of us are just going to settle into
Yeah.
what's real and what's true and lead our families through this storm, this uncertainty.
I am right there with you, sister. And it is a beautiful thing to watch it unfold, the way that we see it unfolding. So it is really, really cool, isn't it?
So cool.
So I have one more question for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you could go back and tell one truth to your younger self during your burnout years and you just not being in alignment, what would that be?
I would say every question you have can be answered from within. And you have everything that you need to fully move forward step by step, doing the next right thing if you trust the voice within. That's what I would say to her.
That's amazing. Wow.
Because I think I wasted a lot of time and I wouldn't say wasted because I don't believe in that, but
Yeah.
I would say looking back now going, oh, there, I went this path, a little jagged, a little
Yes.
longer, and there was an option to go a little shorter, a little more direct. And I eventually found that way and found that it was available all the time.
Right.
And I think that there was a lot of pressure, anxiety, need to control outcomes.
Yes.
As a byproduct of wanting to be good enough and wanting to do it right. And a lot of energy placed on that would have shifted and lightened if I would have just gone, actually, I don't need to hire that person, or actually, I don't need to wait for this advice and ask 50 people. I can just pause and go in and that voice is to be trusted and listened to and cultivated as a really sacred relationship. And I think I would want her to know that. Just like I teach that to my daughter.
Yes. Yes. That is incredible. And I just want to thank you. This conversation has been so enlightening for me. And it's meant so much. Tell everybody how they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram or TikTok, and it's at Paden Hughes. And I have my links in my bio will show you the chart book if that calls to you and you want another tool to really understand high-level energy work and connect to God in your own way. That's so playful and so vibrant. And I also do energy healings for people if they feel compelled to experience it first. And I also do one-on-one coaching for women that are wanting to create more space and freedom in their life without having to let go of their income. Yeah. And I think that's really that space right there of, there are bills still to pay, but I feel this soul tug that's saying like your next iteration is here. And I want to navigate it with grace, and I want to navigate it in integrity. And I also want to not alienate my partner in the process.
Those are really good ideas.
Those are great ideas.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. But I also have my books on Amazon if people want to read it or listen to it. I audio or I do the recording, and that's basically me making fun of myself. And warning sign, trigger warning, for all the years that I did not curse because I was too good of a Christian, I fully make up that time.
Are you making up
in
for
that
it
audiobook? Not anymore. People have literally said, Paden, you don't cuss as much as you used to. I'm like, well, if you had listened to me 2 years ago, I was putting all those 30 years of not cussing into a few short years, and I was a sailor.
So funny.
So don't listen to it with your kids on because the F-bombs are crazy, but they're there.
That's good to know. Thank you. I am going to listen to it. And that is incredible. And I'm going to order the chart book too. So I'm super excited about that. I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, it continues to surprise me how much I continue to love it. I've been working with it for a year. And
I love it.
I just just the idea that you can authentically shift your energy when you're hot and when you're dysregulated, and you can literally clear it. I now tell, it's so dramatic. I now have to tell my family, guys, I'm gonna go step away and clear myself, because otherwise they will be like, you, who are you and how did you flip flop? Are you a psychopath? And I'll just be like, no, just letting you know, I'm gonna go take care of business over here energetically. Expect me to be shifted when I come back.
The new me will be back.
The new me. And
Yes.
it's real. And the best part is there's no pretending. And I'm like, that's what I needed all of those years of childhood.
No.
I went without a period for 3 years because I was holding it all together. And no one thought that was a warning sign of any kind of stress.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Well, I will let you know how that works out for me. I can't wait. I'm going to order it today, actually.
Amazing.
And thank you again. And I would love to have you back soon.
Yeah, I would crave it as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I hope this conversation spoke to you like it did me. Paden's story is such a beautiful reminder that our power, it doesn't come from how much we can do. It comes from how aligned we can be. If something she said resonated with you, go connect with her on TikTok at Paden Hughes and check out her book, Take Two, and the Liberated Lightworker program. And if this episode inspired you, please take a moment to like it, review, or share it with someone who needs a reminder that it's safe to slow down and still succeed. So until next time, remember, you are not alone on this journey, and you're exactly where you're meant to be.